Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are off. To Kitech. It's going to be a great day. It is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Last night was the PTA Fall Festival at the kids' school, which was a ton of fun. One of the things I love about this school we're a part of is how active the PTA is, all the events they put on and things they do to really build the community. You get the kids together after school, learning and having fun and playing. So it was a ton of fun. They had bounce houses. They must have had over 30 different games. At the very end, they do a silly string war. So I think we had like 2,000 cans of silly string at our house that got put to good use in battle yesterday at the playground. So that was a ton of fun. The kids loved it. I think the teachers loved it too. Yeah. So being active in each other's lives is such a important piece of growth. Because as we go through life, we're really only in each other's lives a very short amount of time. Like maybe we have classes together. So we go to school together, end up having classes, so we build a small relationship, but the class ends, we move on. Maybe we're in another class together, maybe we're not. Who knows? But because of who you're in class with, it determines how successful you are. Because different people ask different questions, different people behave differently. And that drives the learning community that you are part of. That's when you expand the time horizon over 50 years, it's really easy to see that the most valuable assets we have are our teachers. They're the people who teach the next generation how to live life. They're teaching the next generation how to read and write and process things and think through things. Teachers are by far the most important linchpin in our growth as a nation. The hard part about it is that's only when you look at a long timeline. When you look at a 10-year timeline, even 10 years, it's hard to truly compensate teachers the way they should be because there's not a ton of ROI. Look at colleges. Colleges keep raising their prices and they only get 4 years with the client, typically. On average, I think it's 5.5. So they only get 5 years with the client, and their job is to collect as much revenue from that client as they can while they're a client. Same is true of school. How are we collecting that revenue? But with public schools, it's all government funded. So no one's really collecting the revenue, and it doesn't seem like there's really any accountability on how it's being used and spent and everything else. That's why I believe our tax system should be based off of an ESOP model, where everyone who pays taxes into the system gets ownership of the system they're paying taxes to. Because over the course of our life, we need well-educated people. We need servers, we need teachers, we need nurses and doctors and construction workers. We need farm pickers. We need everyone up and down the food chain. We do not live in a society where we can all be leaders. We do not live in a society where we could function if we were all at the very top. Nor would we want to. I think a big misconception in the world has been this idea that you need to find passion and purpose in your work. You really don't. In your work, you need to make money to live life. That's literally what work is about. It doesn't matter if you love it or hate it. What matters is, does it accomplish the job you need it to accomplish? Work is a means to an end. I'm not saying people don't want to work. I don't think anyone in our world wants to retire. I think people want to add value to our society in the way they like to add value to society. Be that as an investor or a consultant or a trainer or a teacher or a nurse or a doctor. These are all different ways we can add value. But that doesn't mean that's our whole life. That is one piece of who you are. Just one piece. And when you expand the time horizon over 50 years, that one piece depends on so many other people to be successful. And that's what, when you zoom out and look at the big picture, none of us can do this alone. We are creatures of community. And we are creatures of habit. We want to be with each other. We want to work with each other. And that's, I think, one of the cool things about the ESOP model in general, is where you invest your time earns you ownership in the machine that you invested that time in. Far too often, that's not the case. Far too often, people are not getting ownership for where they work. Take McDonald's or Burger King or any of these fast food restaurants. They're paying minimum wage because, yes, the job is technically easy, but it also is one of the most difficult jobs to automate, because you have to have so many different things happening in a very tight area, confined area, that makes it hard to build automation. So, and the same goes for nurses, doctors, teachers, fire department, police officers. All these roles are extremely difficult to automate because of the way they operate, because of how unique and how many inputs you have. Whereas, like, if you look at what we do at Kitech Automation with, say, a palletizer, picking up a box and setting that box on a pallet all day long is not actually meaningful work. Yes, it is work that needs done, but a human doesn't have to do it. And so that's why we automate it. When we automate work like that, it allows the people who were doing that role to find a more fulfilling role rather than just stacking boxes. Now, if they want to just stack boxes, there are plenty of manufacturing spaces that need packaging help. There's no shortage of that kind of work. There's shortage of workers willing to do that kind of work. So once you expand that time horizon, you begin to realize we need everybody. And then you need everyone to live their own life until you interact with their life. So think about going out to a restaurant. You go out to a restaurant, nice sit down meal. The server comes over, takes your order, brings your food, does your drinks. Great. Oh. That's great. But what it misses is everything that happened in that server's life up until today. We get the value of all their education, all the jobs they've ever worked, their family, everything that's been built into their life is then used to take care of us while we're there. You can't just pull people out of thin air. Everyone has to be educated, go through an education process. Everyone has to learn how we interact and operate with each other. I'm gonna go this way. Sorry about that. Everybody has to rely on everyone else. And this, I think, is a big piece of when I say the true value of time is not incorporated in our society. It's because we all depend on everyone else, not just in this moment, but in all moments. We're all going through time together. And as we go through time, we're making decisions, we're learning, we're growing, and we're deciding what we're going to do with the information we learn as we go through time. I think it's funny when people talk about competition. There is no competition out there. There is no other you in the world. And you can't do everything. Even if you wanted to be the biggest company in the world, there's other people serving the same people in a very similar way that the user can choose from, the buyer can choose from. I think it's so funny how people get worked up about their ideas and don't steal my idea. Think how busy everyone is. The chances of someone hearing your idea and stealing it are slim to none. Maybe once you get successful, it will happen more often. But when you're starting out, good ideas are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. What is not everywhere is follow through, is action, is determination and persistence to make a good idea a reality. And that action, that persistence comes from within. Comes from whoever had the idea. Whoever wants that idea to live on. Take America's holding company. Right now, I have yet to really explain it in a way that people understand it. Full transparency. And it is really frustrating. But that doesn't mean it's not a good idea. All that means is I have not educated my consumers enough, and I have not failed at selling it enough to make it successful. Now, it's my choice if I stop trying, America's holding company dies if I stop trying to bring it to life. And that's why I say we have a 40-year timeline, because I don't plan on stopping. I can do there are so many things that happen in the 24 hours we own. You don't need to be doing it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to be successful. You just need to focus on something for long enough to make it successful. And it's about the marathon. It's not a sprint. And that's where America's holding company, as we get this up and going, as people start to see, hey, by being involved in this system, me and every single employee in my organization gets ownership of this system. It changes the way people look at things. And I believe one of the challenges I've had is our understanding as a society of ownership. The only way to achieve financial freedom is through ownership. You have to own. First, you've got to own your time. And then you've got to own a business, real estate, stocks, bonds, any of these financial assets that build wealth. You must own something to achieve financial freedom. And we're never taught that. School does not talk to you about ownership. It doesn't talk to you about how money works. It doesn't talk to you about taxes. And those are the rules to the game we all live in. Life is nothing more than a game. We all have our dashboards. We all have our own opinions. We have our own way of operating. And yes, you can get in trouble and be thrown in jail, but for the most part, we are completely free. It is our choice what we do. It is our choice when we do it, how we do it, why we do it, because we are free. To me, that's what it means to be an American. Being a free American is not about making the rules. It's about following the rules that have been made in a way that makes your life fulfilling to you. That's it. We're all chasing something. What are you chasing? What will be fulfilling to you? What do you want to accomplish or do with your time? These are all choices we make on a regular basis. But if you don't look long term, how do you know the choice you're going to make today will help you end up where you want to go in the future? It won't. It won't. So, this is one of the reasons I love going to these PTA events. I get to see all the other people out there. All the people on my team that I don't have to direct. I don't have to talk to them. I don't have to ask them to do things. Yet they're all paying taxes. They're all helping us be successful as a society. So, it's amazing how interconnected we all are. And with that said, I'm at work, so I'm going to go get at it. But we'll talk to y'all soon.